Greetings, class. We're going to go ahead and take a look at our um, literature review and look at an example of what your literature review should entail. So, first of all, you want to make sure that at the beginning of your paper, after your abstract, you want to make sure that you have some essential things. Now, let's start off with the first page after your abstract for your body of content, which will be the introduction to your paper. So you're going to start off introducing the topic. So this particular paper was on the effects of communication on marital satisfaction. And the first part is to introduce the terms, the concepts, and just really discuss what it is that you're focused on or what your research question is about. So essentially, your independent and dependent variables. So as you proceed through this part of your paper, you want to start off with an introductory um, piece of your paper, which may last about a page. So you might talk about what's common about divorce, reasons why divorce happens, ineffective communication that plays a role. And because this paper is on the communication or how communication affects marital satisfaction, that can be the star of the show, the star of the paper, talking about communication may lead to success or detriment to a marriage, and or its level of effectiveness, and then move on. So you could just quickly skim through this information and just see how the author of this paper set up um, its stage for the topic of effects of communication on marital status. So as you continue to look at some of this, and you want to make sure that you are defining the terms. Here you see a a citation here within the paper before the period. Remember, before the period, two authors. When it is at the end of the sentence, you're going to place that ampersand and symbol. And if it is within the paper, say not at the end, but on the end at the beginning of the sentence, then you would write out the words and when it's outside of the parentheses. So you have citations. You're going to have these citations throughout the paper. We want to make sure that we see that. So let's just scroll down just a little bit to kind of look at what the author talked about. So the literature review is going to discuss some of the communication styles and etc. So let's move on down to the actual literature review. Now, you can simply put literature review, and there actually are some errors in this work, and you would probably more so see some of this information in a previous assignment where you are going to identify some of the errors in a paper so that you make sure that you do not make these same errors in your proposal. So let's just quickly look at this. So with the literature review, you can break this down into subsections where you're going to talk about different types of communication. Maybe you might talk about marital status. You may talk about gender within marriage, different things that you may find when you're doing your review of the literature. So this one starts off with nonverbal communication, but I want you to look closely at some of the key points that you will have in your literature review. So let's skip down to about here, where um, this actually could be set up a little bit better here, the way that this looks with the citation. But this particular part of the paper is going to focus on um, this Westfield and Stack. Westfield and Stack 20, well, 2002 studied nonverbal behaviors related to closeness. Okay. And so the main gist is that this particular um, reference is going to be the focus of this first part of the literature review. So it's essentially going to talk about what the research article, the peer review article focused on, what the research question was, what the concepts um, or procedures that were used within the study. What were the participants like within the study? And tell us about how the study went. Okay. Then we can also jump down to a whole another study where we might find one to be similar to our the one that we had before with Westfield and Stack. Then we're going to go down to Sabatelli, Buck, and Dreyer. 1982 suggested that this is true. We go on. In their study, they focused on nonverbal communication and its relationship in marital complaints. We'll talk about what they found. We may talk about who the participants were, what their hypothesis was, etc. So then, if you look down a little further, we're still talking about now another study that found similar aspects to effective communication or communication within marriage, marital adjustment, marital satisfaction, whatever the topic is, as long as it is related to your topic, it will suffice. So if you look at some of these, you're just noticing that within the literature review, you are simply taking those research journal articles and pretty much talking about them within each portion of your paper. Okay, here we are. We're just looking at different past studies. That is the focus of the literature review, reviewing the past literature. So here's another one that's talking about communication styles when flirting. Starts the topic off or the first statement in regards to flirting or what that means, then we're back into past research talking about Booth Butterfield's study that was done in 2010 and what that study was about. Um, the purpose of that study, what were they focused on? Um, the purpose of the study was to review flirtation and tell us what the outcome was of that study, what they found to be true within their research. Um, Within their research study, they found that a major reason for flirtation within marriage was to create a private world between the couple and to motivate sex. So, we're talking about what the conclusion was. First, the research question, then the hypothesis, if there is one listed. Then we go on to talk about maybe the procedures or the participants, and then essentially giving the results of the study. And the main purpose for utilizing these past literature is to set up the stage for your particular research study. So I'm going to scroll down here, and as you can see again, there's multiple research articles. Hansel and Segerin, 2009, found this to be true in their study of negative affectivity, a personality trait that tends to cause distressing reactions to negative situations. And then it goes into they found what they found. The use of harmful communication styles during conflict was directly related to individuals not having marital satisfaction. So, again, we're setting up the stage to talk about why what we are going to study is so very important and why this past literature makes the argument for either an updated um, reflection or updated research on a particular topic that has been done before, or you are setting up the stage to introduce a topic that has not been well researched that you believe would be very important to add to the pool of knowledge. So that is going to be the main focus when you're completing this literature review. So you can rewind this or go back, review this particular video again in regards to your literature review so that you can implement this when setting up your research. Okay, your research proposal, your literature review. This is going to be very important. This is not just a paper about concepts. This is a paper about reviewing past literature, past research that has been done on similar topics to yours, or maybe it's the same topic as yours and you want to update the research. Okay. So again, keep looking back at this video so that it can be a blueprint for you setting up your literature review.